Welcome to another episode of the A-List Movie Club. I am your host, the Game Changer, Wes Truth. And with me, as always, are Dominic and John. How's it going tonight, guys?
It's going good.
Good.
All right. And as everyone knows, this is the show where each week one of us picks a different movie for the others to check out. And this time it was Dominic's turn. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what you picked?
I don't remember what I picked. No, I picked the 2016 movie Manchester by the Sea. It's a pretty heavy, dramatic movie. It takes place, Casey Affleck plays a guy that's having a lot of problems in his life. He's just not a very happy dude, and you'll find out why he wasn't too happy. Whose brother suddenly dies of a heart attack, and he has to go back to his hometown to take care of his underage nephew, and everything else ensues from that. Casey Affleck did win the Oscar for Best Actor in this movie.
And it won for best screenplay, I think.
It might have, yes. This movie is I think this movie is a masterpiece. I really do. It's very tough to watch, and it was almost sadder. This was the second time I've seen it. It was almost sadder the second time because you knew what was going to happen, but I mean, what happened to Casey Affleck's character is just heart-wrenching, and I mean, just tears you up. I thought all the acting I thought everybody that in this movie were fantastic. The acting was just fantastic. The setting of Manchester by the Sea, the town, is just it's gorgeous. I mean, it really is. The story was very tough. I couldn't find too much wrong with this movie, and it's at about 2 hours and 15 minutes or so. It was a long movie, and it almost felt long because it was so devastating.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's some movies that, I mean, not that I don't mean long in a bad sense. I really don't, but it just you were raked over the coals for those 2 hours and 15 minutes, basically. I mean, yeah, that's it.
John, this was your first time seeing Manchester by the Sea, so what did you think of it?
I liked it. I think it's a really, really good movie.
Yeah.
Much like Dom said, though, it is heavy. It's like being at a funeral for 2.5 hours. It is just.
Oh yeah.
There's no humor to lighten it up. There's no.
Well, a
nothing.
couple things.
I'll tell you. Not like Dumb and Dumber funny, but.
No. There's two scenes in this movie that really got me. When Casey Affleck had his short little dream sequence, and when his nephew finally had his emotional breakdown about his father. Those were two very heavy, tough scenes.
They are, yeah.
Casey Affleck is amazing. He's good for him. He's won more acting awards than Ben has.
Yeah, and he's been accused of mistreating more women than Ben has.
That's true. Yeah.
So
we'll get to that later in my trivia.
What else did you think about it, John?
Well, when it first came on, I have no knowledge. You guys are watching this for the second time. This is my first.
Yeah.
I thought he was a bit of an asshole in the beginning. Like,
Yeah.
he really isn't a likable guy. I'm like, he's kind of a jerk. Like,
Yeah.
you know, he's like emotionless, and you know, I didn't know his background at that point. I was like, he's just kind of a dick, you know, like. But then
Yeah.
as it goes on, you sort of understand it more, and you sort of feel sorry for him. You know, I didn't think he was much of a jerk that later. I'm like, oh, I get it now. Like,
Yeah.
I like that it was real. Like, this is how people really talk and act, especially when they're dealing with grief.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I watched it with my son's mom, and I kept saying, like, if the nephew and Casey Affleck would just give each other a hug and just sort of realize
Mm-hmm.
they're both sad and they're both dealing with it, but instead they sort of argue with each other and bicker and take it out on each other. What think people do in real life instead of just saying, "Hey, I'm sad," you know, and instead of
Right.
supporting each other, they're sort of dealing with it on their own and then taking it out on each other.
Yeah.
Especially
The police station scene, when he was in the police station and when he grabbed that, that kind of got me. Like, holy
I
crap.
forgot that. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah, it's a tough movie it's a hard movie to watch.
yeah, it's not something I would watch over and over again. You know.
No, I think I've seen it twice. I don't think I'd watch it again.
Yeah, I would.
Maybe in a couple more years, because Wesley and I saw it in the theaters. So it's been 4 years or almost 5 years. So maybe in another 5 years I'd watch it again because it is a very, what was who played his wife? Michelle Williams?
Michelle Williams,
yeah. Yeah, now she played a good role in there, and you felt so bad for her too, because not what originally happened, but she was still in love with Casey Affleck, and he just could not bring himself. He can't forgive himself. That's what the problem is with him. He cannot bring himself to forgive himself, and I don't know if I could do that in my case. In his,
yeah, you could tell that the reason they aren't together wasn't because they didn't love each other.
Right.
It was, you know, what happened was just so devastating that, again, they probably, instead of coming together and supporting each other, both went their separate ways to deal with it, and then that's what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not something I would watch on a Sunday afternoon if it was on TV. It's too heavy. Like,
yeah.
You
have to be in the right mood, definitely.
Yeah.
When we saw it, there was people sniffling. You could hear in 4 or 5 probably different scenes.
Yeah, it's a very good movie, but it's a tough watch.
Yeah, we had no idea what this movie was about when we went and saw it. You know,
we heard the Oscar buzz, and we were like, oh, well, you know, you got to see La La Land, you got to see Manchester by the Sea, you got to see Moonlight, blah, 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 that year. So we were like, all right, well, we saw La La Land, let's go see Manchester by the Sea. I've heard that's good. And we were like, Jesus.
Yeah, we walked out. It was like we were gut punched.
It was like we all had just been at a funeral.
Yeah, like John said.
We don't know, you know?
Ooh, yeah.
Actually, I remember when we walked into the theater, people were coming out. And I remember, Dominic, you asked somebody how it was, and they were like, whoa. And we're like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? You know?
Yeah, it definitely weighs on you.
So, yeah, this is a film that deals with some of the heaviest material I've seen on the big screen in a long time. And not every viewer is going to feel the same way about this movie. I think in between seeing the uncle and nephew going through the procedures of getting everything ready for the funeral, going to the lawyer's office, etc., the film utilizes flashbacks in a fine fashion to reveal answers to questions we start to wonder about as the film goes on. I was very intrigued to find out more things about the past of these characters. There's some truly heartbreaking scenes, which are very powerful, emotional, and shocking. And seeing it again, knowing what was coming, even made me feel worse. This is a film where we really feel for all the characters throughout, all the personal tragedies they're enduring or have endured in the past. And I love the fact you were saying about this, that all the characters feel real and they could easily be someone you know. Thankfully, there were a few lighter moments sprinkled in, not too much comedy, but it gave you like a couple laughs at least in between. And I really liked the relationship between Lee and his nephew and the chemistry between the two actors, Casey Affleck and Lucas Hedges. I also enjoyed that I wasn't quite sure where the film was headed at points or where it would end up. Truly unpredictable. Terrific music as well.
The town was called Manchester until 1989. Then a local resident did a campaign to get it formally changed to Manchester by the Sea.
Yep.
It was passed in 1990, so officially changed its name.
Wow.
Remember when Casey Affleck and his nephew were sort of arguing outside the lawyer's office?
Right.
And that guy walks by and he's like, "Good parenting."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the director of this movie.
Oh, wow.
During the scene where Casey Affleck goes to see his brother down in the morgue and he starts crying, that was not in the script. Casey Affleck improvised that. And the director kept doing it. He thought it was so powerful.
Yeah.
Especially for that character who sort of showed no emotion,
Right.
you know. The scene where I can't say this without giving away anything. Casey Affleck walks to the store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The director wanted to cut that and just show the after.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But Casey Affleck convinced him that it sort of needed context
Yeah.
Right.
for why his character would be the way he is. You couldn't just have her break up the party. The next thing you see is that, and then be like, "What the hell happened?"
Right.
Yeah.
But Casey Affleck convinced him to keep it. That it fits. It really needs to for his character anyway.
Right.
The first film distributed by a streaming service to get an Oscar nomination.
Amazon, right? Yeah.
Amazon, yep.
Yeah.
That not burying someone until the ground is soft is a regular occurrence up there. Gonna get pretty cold.
Yeah, see, I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Originally, Matt Damon was supposed to play the Casey Affleck part and direct it. I don't know
Wow.
how that could have gone, but
I thought he was one of the producers.
his schedule didn't work out, so he couldn't do it. He dropped out. But he recommended Casey Affleck. This shouldn't surprise anybody, but all the actors in that band never played an instrument before in their lives.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise.
They were just given instruments and told, like, just go. And they did. And that's obvious.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's why you're nominating their CD for us to listen to.
That's my pick.
Whatever their band
What is
name
it?
was.
Centurion?
I think so.
Centurion? Is that what their name was?
Yeah.
This is the part that refers to what you were talking about. Traditionally, the Best Actress Oscar winner from the year before presents the Best Actor Oscar the next year.
Yep.
Brie Larson presented it to Casey Affleck, but everyone noticed that she didn't shake his hand, stood off to the side, and sort of, didn't really interact with him a whole lot. And they asked her why. She said she's an advocate for victims of sexual assault. And since he was charged with it, she didn't want anything to do with him. She's like, "I'll present the award, but that's it. We ain't friends. I'm just gonna stand over here."
Right.
All right, let's rate this thing.
All right.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go. this is a hard movie to rate. I mean, uh, I hate, man, this is tough because I'm waffling, but I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to give it a 10 just because of it's it's an extremely emotional movie. And I think you have to be a cold-hearted piece of shit to watch this movie and not feel some emotion in this. It's just I man, it's terrible because I'm giving tens out like they're friggin' Cupid dolls, but uh, this one I was waffling between a 9 and a 10, and I think I'll go with the 10. I think I will. I thought it was just from every actor in that movie was just fantastic. They were just absolutely fantastic.
Tom, I think every single one of your movies has been a 10.
Yeah.
I think so. Godfather, Goodfellas, Die Hard, Unforgiven.
Yeah.
I think you're on a roll because this was a 10 for me too. So.
And yeah, I was waffling between 9 and 10 too, but I'm this was one of the most emotional movies I've ever seen. I remember coming out of that theater feeling like I just got punched in the gut. Like, so I'm gonna have to go 10. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you do a movie, if we ever did a movie list like our favorite movies of all time, this would probably be down on the list a little bit. But if you did a list like the best movies you've ever seen, this would be really high up, I think, for me. This might be in the top 15 of best, because there's been great movies I've watched, but I didn't particularly enjoy them as much as some things.
Yeah.
Like there's some movies like watch this and say, um Dumb and Dumber. I enjoyed Dumb and Dumber more because it was funny and kind of uplifting and everything like that.
Yeah.
Where this is a much superior film.
Yeah.
This is
How can you compare those two movies?
right. But this is like
yeah.
a masterpiece of filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were to ask me of the best movies I've ever seen of all time, this would be top. This would be up there, maybe in the top 10 even, because I hate to say I enjoyed this movie, but I did enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was tough.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think isn't it Johnny's turn?
Yep.
Oh, Jesus.
So, I'm picking a movie that I haven't seen. I don't know if you guys have, but I watched a show on YouTube, Wes knows Cinema Sickness, and he found this movie somewhere at one of his shopping, and he said it's really good, and he recommends you see it. So I came across it and I bought it, so I'm gonna watch it for the first time. Pirate Radio.
Okay. I saw that episode. Yeah, he was like, "Yeah, you have to watch this if you've never seen it." So
yeah,
he
recommends it.
That's cool.
Isn't Dominic's lookalike Philip Seymour Hoffman in that movie?
Yes, he is.
Right.
Nick Frost, Kenneth Branagh, Bill Nighy.
Wow.
Good actors.
Yep. I just got the soundtrack has The Who, The Kinks, Jimi Hendrix, David Bowie, Rolling Stones, and more. So
wow.
Yeah. So we'll check it out. First time I never saw it.
All right. Well, we'll be back next week with our thoughts on Pirate Radio. But until then, John, you want to talk a little bit about your podcast?
Yeah, I have a podcast called We Like Wrestling Podcast. It's a weekly podcast, 4 guys sitting around talking about wrestling. We just did a Black History Month tournament that was really fun. We're talking about ECW Heatwave 98 this week.
Wow.
Yeah, just a random pay-per-view. I don't know, some of it. Lots of fun stuff coming up. We're on iTunes and Apple and Spotify, wherever you find podcasts. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We Like Wrestling Podcast.
And I followed you on Facebook, and I subscribed on Apple Podcasts.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I'll probably never listen to it, but I did.
That's okay. So appreciate the support.
Always, man.
And of course, for me, you can subscribe right here on YouTube, youtube.com/westside515. Finally getting around to putting some new reviews up. I finally put Wonder Woman 1984 up today, 2 months after I saw it. So that goes to show you what I thought of that. But like the show on Facebook, facebook.com/WestTruePaylist. And of course, you can follow me on the Twitter and the Instagram @WestAlist. Until next time, Troop out.